Hi, my name is Jeff Shaw, and I work at Davis Media Access. Welcome to In the Studio, a show on Davis Community Television, cable channel 15, and AT&T channel 99. With me in the studio today is Jennifer Gilbert. She is the City of Davis Conservation Coordinator. She recently wrote an article. She writes a column in the Davis Enterprise called Environmental Update, and we saw it. It mentioned some water conservation issues that are going on in Davis and some efforts, and so we invited her in to come in and talk about that today. So thanks for coming in.
Thank you for the invitation.
We are going to, let me first ask you a couple questions about your job. So Conservation Coordinator, what does that mean exactly?
So my job is multifunctional. So most of what I do, or most of what I have been doing the past 7 years, is recycling, waste reduction, composting, hazardous waste, getting that information out to the public. More recently, I've been doing a lot of water conservation material because of the drought. It's been a bigger issue, and we've had some turnover at the city. The folks that used to do it are no longer there, so now I get to do it.
So you're telling me that this position is actually required by law. So
yeah.
How does that come about?
Yeah. So back in 1989, Assembly Bill 939 was passed that gave a mandate to cities and state within the state of California that they had to recycle 50% of their waste by 2020.
50% of their waste.
All the garbage by 2020. Yes. So part of that stipulation.
And this is to prevent.
Statewide.
This is to prevent the landfills from.
Yes,
filling up
to prevent the landfills from filling up,
Okay.
to all the environmental benefits
So
that go with
diverting
recycling.
the waste stream to other.
Yeah,
Okay.
recycling, composting, reusing, reducing, the whole 9 yards. So part of that law said that every city had to have a plan and someone to implement the recycling plan and the waste diversion plan since. So the City of Davis has me, the Conservation Coordinator. Small cities will pool together with larger jurisdictions, and they'll have a JPA, a Joint Powers Authority, and those people manage the recycling programs.
So then the recycling programs are run by the City of Davis, and this is a little bit off topic, but we'll get to the water in a little bit. The recycling programs are run by the City of Davis, or they're run by Davis Waste Removal?
So Davis Waste Removal does the actual collection. They pick up the material, they sort it.
Okay.
We oversee the contract with them, and we are in charge of all the outreach to the residents. So we tell the residents what to do, and the businesses as well, of course, what to do, where to put the materials, and then Davis Waste Removal collects the materials and sorts it and sends it on to be processed.
Okay, and so then all the weight and everything that gets tallied up to decide whether or not the City of Davis is meeting that Assembly Bill, that all gets done at the landfill, I assume?
It gets done at the landfill, it gets done at the state level. We have to look through the reports and submit reports as well. So does Davis Waste Removal. We kind of all play a piece in that role.
So then you have a direct statistic, I suppose, as to whether or not you are succeeding at your job, or whether or not the City of Davis is actually meeting that 20%.
We are
goal.
meeting and exceeding it beautifully. Right now, Davis is sitting pretty at a 64, goodness. I think it's 64% recycling rate.
Okay.
And our goal is to reach 75 by 2020. So
Wow.
we're marching in the right direction.
That's pretty great.
Yeah.
And this is the last off-topic question, but I suppose you're familiar with some of the zero waste efforts that goes on and sort of what they do, and it's always amazing to me the amount of effort it takes to do zero waste. Are there other other cities have this position? Do you get together with other conservation coordinators and talk about the ways to do this type of work?
Yeah, we meet. I meet monthly with the other coordinators in Yolo County, so that we all work together on projects, so that we can kind of all pool our money and resources together and have a better effect. We also meet with all of the jurisdictions in the whole Sacramento region, and once again, we pull our resources together so that we can kind of do more outreach and get more material out there, share ideas. It's very effective that way if we really work together instead of individually.
Oh, it makes sense. And so, as I mentioned, you write this environmental update in the Enterprise. You've been doing that for a while, I assume. It helps get part of your outreach effort, I guess. You meet the Enterprise deadlines and make sure the column gets in there in time.
Yeah. They've been very helpful with that.
Yeah, it's great. Davis still having a daily newspaper is actually kind of rare for a lot of small towns. So.
Yes, it is.
Recently, your article mentioned the drought, and so that's on everyone's mind. we've been in a drought now for 3 years, I guess you could say. We're now in the third year of a drought, and so a large part of California is classified as this extreme drought, which I don't exactly know what it means, but you see the pictures, and the brighter the color for counties, that means the more extreme drought situation they're in. I typically think of drought situations as sort of an agricultural issue, and that's sort of the farmers are the first ones to feel it. But the cities are also doing their part to sort of address this issue, and I guess that's where you are now spearheading, or you're helping some of this effort.
Yeah.
The city of
So
Davis?
When the governor declares a state of emergency for drought, it kickstarts certain processes in action.
Right.
And especially with the state water board's action in July, with their
so they
their water.
assess how much snowpack and couple other measures.
They continually assess what the snowpack is, what water levels are statewide in wells, and all these different ways of assessing how much water we have.
Okay.
And with the mandates that came through the State Water Resource Control Board in July, it basically is pushed the city into a stage 3 mandatory water conservation.
So we are in a stage 3 water shortage, which is, I suppose it can get worse.
It can. There's a stage 4.
Oh, there's stage 4. Okay.
So we're not the worst we can go yet. We're actually doing okay. We're on well water, not on surface water. So the folks that are on surface water are the ones really hurting, because there's not a lot of water in the rivers. We have well water.
Right.
Our wells are a little bit lower than usual.
But it might mean that the impact later on is that the groundwater won't be
Exactly.
charged.
It's not being recharged, and that's the problem.
Since we're on the stage 3 water shortage, we have a graphic showing what the city of Davis is doing. Let's see if we bring that up. We have up there the mandatory 30% water cutbacks. Is that something that the city implemented?
Yeah.
As a result of the stage 3 water shortage?
Yes, it is. So the stage 3 in the Davis water management plan says that it would be starting to restrict outdoor water use.
Okay.
So the way that City Council addressed that is these new mandatory water restrictions. So these are effective immediately in all of Davis. This applies to all residents and all businesses in Davis.
So
these water restrictions.
And I think I feel like Davis has had these restrictions before, but basically no watering outdoors when the sun's between 9 and 6 p.m. when it's bright sun. And then outdoor watering is restricted to 3 days a week, odd number of addresses, and so the city sort of has a way of spreading the impact between different houses by if you have an odd numbered address, you're supposed to water on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturdays. Even numbered addresses on Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. No watering during periods of rain.
Assuming we ever get any.
No excessive water flow or runoff on the pavement, which is just wasted water basically. No washing down paved surfaces. All property owners must fix leaks, breaks, or malfunctions when they find them. Fountains and water features must have recirculating water system. Vehicles must be washed with a handheld bucket, no just out there, I guess, washing there's going to be a lot less of those fundraising car washes, probably.
Well, they still can if they're using a hose with a water shutoff valve.
Oh, okay.
That is still possible, but then again, you need to make sure that the water is not, rushing off a lot of it into the gutter. That's still an issue.
We have restaurants may not serve drinking water unless by patrons' request, so that's a change. In the Central Coast, I know that's always the case. Whenever I go to San Luis Obispo or I think to Santa Cruz, it's only upon request do people they serve you water.
Yeah.
No installation of non-recirculating water systems at new commercial car washes and laundry systems. So Davis has hardly any, other than the apartment complexes, there's not that many laundromats anymore.
Yeah, I think we're down to like one.
I think so too. Hotels and motels must give us the option to decline daily bed linen and towel changes. So those are all ways the city has implemented water restrictions. There's one other slide I think we have in there that shows if you want to bring that up, which is doing our part to save water together. This is we're reducing water more than 40% in our parks and public facilities. So the city of Davis itself manages a lot of land and parks. And this graphic, which is kind of hard to see, we apologize for that. You can go to City of Davis. Let's see. You can go to
SaveDavisWater.org.
You can go to SaveDavisWater.org. Thank you to see these graphics that are kind of hard to see. But basically, what you're looking at here is that there's the website. In case you can see right there, SaveDavisWater.org. But what you're looking at back on the slide is that the City of Davis, thanks Diane and the control room for her work on this. More than 100 irrigation controllers will be replaced or upgraded by June 2015. So the city is upgrading irrigation controllers, I assume, to be probably more computerized to maximize water use efficiency, as it says. Prioritizing trees in active areas. So I know it's been controversial because I think the city, the amount of people maintaining trees is they've been struggling with, but nonetheless, the city is implementing, let's see, more prioritizing trees in active areas. So I guess trees get priority over grass is what that is basically saying, right? Something to that effect?
Something to that effect.
Which makes sense. So, which brings us to the current effort you're sort of doing some outreach on, which is SaveDavisWater.org, which will, I guess since we mentioned it, we'll bring the website right back up. There it is, on cue, SaveDavisWater.org. This is a clearinghouse of sorts, right, for all this information?
Yeah, this is a microsite that we developed where folks can go here to find out everything water conservation related to Davis. So we're posting workshops that we're hosting on here and tips about water conservation, just all different information about what's going on in Davis right now. So right here you can see the calendar of events. We'll be posting the water workshops that we have. And if you scroll down just a little bit, on the left there's a list of links to flyers and brochures that shows what the mandatory cutbacks are, what the city is doing, different ways to take care of trees, different ways to conserve water, all very simple and easy to find.
Right, so there's a lot, residents can do a lot themselves to save water, and the interesting part to me is that water conservation makes sense economically speaking too. It's one of those cases where it makes sense for people to save water. It's good for the environment, but it also makes sense for people to save water for their own dollars and cents, and maybe let the lawn go brown, I suppose, or plant some tomatoes instead of a lawn. I'm not sure.
Or you can plant drought-resistant turf as well. There's some varieties of turf that you can plant that they don't require a lot of water. Buffalo grass is one of them, and there's some links on that Save Davis Water too. I can't recall the different types and varieties, but there's several varieties that you can choose from, so you can still have a lawn, it can still look green, but it's just not going to take as much water as your typical Kentucky bluegrass.
So, and these are things that people will learn at the workshops that you're hosting?
Yeah, we'll be talking about them at the workshops. So currently we have 2 workshops planned. One of them is actually next Thursday, September 18th. It's going to be talking about just what the water restrictions are, where we are right now, how we got here, and what exactly is going on. The more detailed workshop is going to be Saturday, September 22nd, and that's at Central Park Gardens, and the information about that is on SaveDavisWater.org. But that workshop, the Yolo County Master Gardeners are going to be there, and Tree Davis is going to be there, and they'll be talking about irrigation and watering for trees. Pardon me, in a drought, how much water you need to give them and how to care for your trees during the drought so that you're saving money, but that you're also keeping your trees alive.
We need to get Jim for some water right now. Those workshops, I think, with Tree Davis and with the Master Gardeners are great because there's a lot of expertise that people have that they want to share. The City of Davis, despite great employees, do not have all the information. UC Davis is a great resource, and there's a lot of highly educated people in the Davis community. It's great that you guys are partnering with Tree Davis and with Master Gardeners.
Yeah, they're a wonderful resource. They've been very helpful, providing lots of information for us so that we can get it out to the public.
Right. So are the workshops open and free to anyone?
Yeah, they're open and free to anybody. The one that's at Central Park Gardens, we're asking that people RSVP so we know how many chairs to bring. But the one next Thursday, September 18th, is just walk-in.
All right, so, and by the time this show airs, some of those dates might have, or by the time it re-airs, I suppose, some of those dates might have passed. Are there plans to do more workshops, or even probably next spring once
Yes, the plan at this point is to have one workshop every other month. With either the Yolo County Master Gardeners or with Tree Davis or some other industry professionals. So the next one is going to be in November. We don't have a date for that yet. And then we'll probably have some more just walk-in workshops that are city-led as well. We don't have dates on those yet, but I'm sure there'll be more forthcoming.
Okay, so all this information is on savedaviswater.org, as well as all the outreach that's going to be happening that people can take advantage of with workshops with the Master Gardeners and with Tree Davis to learn how you can save water, how you can conserve water and not use as much water in the home. And all of this sort of feeds into this program that the City of Davis has with Water Insight. So tell me a little bit about, and that the Water Insight program is linked to off of savedaviswater.org. So remember that website, savedaviswater.org. But why don't we bring up the Water Insight program website just so you can see. So this website is linked off of savedaviswater.org. It's a City of Davis program, and why don't you tell me a little bit about how this, either how it came into being or what was Water Insight?
So this is a really powerful tool that homeowners can use to just check and see how good they're doing with their water conservation. We get our water bills every month, and unless you really kind of know what's going on, it's kind of hard to tell, am I using too much water? Am I really doing a good job conserving? Water Insight provides that missing link to connect you. So you go on the Save Davis Water website. There's a link there for you to sign up for
Looks
Davis
like our control
Water
room
Insight.
is clicking on it as we speak.
Perfect.
Let's see if they can get there.
Yeah, so right there you could click on that, and it will take you to this page, the Davis Water Insight page.
So is this, and this may be too much information for people, but is this this is a separate company?
It's a private company.
And they sort of produce this software that people can use?
Yeah, so a lot of other
helpful.
jurisdictions are using this software as well. But you can sign up and then you'll receive monthly emails that tells you each month how you're doing with your water conservation.
So you make an account on this site, basically?
Yes, you have to set up an account to receive the information.
And you get a monthly email that looks something like this, your home water report for February 12th, 2014 to March 7th, 2014. This is just an example. Where do they get their data?
So they get their data from the meter readings from every household.
Okay.
And then Water Insight, the program, takes a look at the size of the house lot, the size of the landscaped area, the approximate number of folks in the home.
So wait, hold on a second. So they get the meter reading.
Yes.
And then they also get, how do they get the, they get the lot size.
So they get the lot size because Davis has the lot size.
Sure.
When you sign up for Davis Water Insight, you tell them how many people are in your house. If the lot size information, like landscape area to house ratio, is not right, you could adjust that. Some of that information, is kind of in there, just guessing, but you can customize it so that
so the more information,
it's more accurate.
You're right. So the more information you give it, the more accurate, and like you said.
Exactly. And then here's another email that you'll get as well, just a different variety, the same type. But this is the key point. So it tells you how you're doing. So right here, this person's doing great. They're only using, what does it say, 200 and something gallons a month for that household. The target goal for that household, you could see, is almost double that. And nearby neighbors.
And the target goal is given by Water
Basically,
Insight.
by given your household size and the size of your lot, like you should be using about this much water.
Okay.
And then you could see like similar, neighbors around you, or neighbors that are using about the same. The Joneses, exactly. The Joneses who have a similar size family and lot, they're using this much. That way you can kind of compare and see how you're doing. Without that comparison, sometimes it's hard to tell how good you're doing with your water conservation.
Well, I know we get a similar report from the power company now.
They copied us.
They're sort of describing, this compared to last year, here's how much water you were using, and compared to this, or not water, how much energy you're using for your heater or whatever, and you can, it's pretty easy to tell, oh, that was a cold month, or
Yeah.
that was a month when the air conditioning was on or whatever. So,
And WaterSmart will give you a graph too that shows, okay, here's a graph and it shows up here maybe what you're using last year, and you can see month to month the changes in irrigation. So of course you're going to be using a lot more water in the summertime and less in the winter. And then you can compare that to this year. There's a separate line on the same graph, so you can see how much your water use is this year. So you can compare and say, oh wow, I've really saved a lot of water since last year. Or I'm not doing so great this year, and I need to figure out what I'm doing to kind of keep track of your water over time.
I would think with all the scientists in Davis that this is just data that they can go crazy with. I mean, this is a lot more data. It's great that this data can be provided to homeowners and home renters. I guess, is it provided to the owner or the renter? Do you know about
So you
that?
have to be the homeowner, because the renter is unfortunately not a customer of the City of Davis. We only
Right.
bill the property owner.
Gotcha. So it goes directly to the owner, and like I said, they get this data, and if they implement some of the programs that we were talking about previously, then they should see, in some cases, a pretty drastic reduction.
Very drastic. Our home in Davis, 1969 home, original appliances. We replaced our toilets a few years ago and cut our water in half.
Really?
I mean, that's drastic. We did not expect to see that much.
Are there still rebates people can get
There
for
are
appliances?
Yeah, there are. Not for toilets, but for washing machines. If you get the ultra high efficiency
Right.
washing machines, we have a rebate program through PG&E right now. You can get either $75 or $125 depending on the efficient machine that you buy, so that you can get a rebate on the machine.
I imagine that information is also on SaveDavisWater.
SaveDavisWater.org. Yes,
Which is another great way to actually save money. I mean, that's
Yes.
a very direct way. Hey, if you need to get a new washing machine, you may, in some cases, it's cheaper to buy a slightly more expensive one, get the rebate,
Yes.
because it's a low water machine, and in many cases, those are more efficient anyway and
Yeah.
wash clothes just as well, if not better.
They use less water, they use less energy, so you'll be saving money on both ends, definitely.
Well, that brings me to, I guess, some other ways that other ways that people can sort of save water in their homes. I mean, is the City of Davis giving people like any kind of tips and tricks other than buying new things or saving?
Yeah, if you don't
landscaping?
want to, if you don't want to go and spend a bunch of money and get a whole new set of appliances, there's some very simple things that you can do. First of all, since most of the water that's used in the home is used outdoors, the biggest thing that can be done is just take a look at your irrigation. Many folks never really see it running because it comes on really early in the morning or late at night, which is good. That's when it should be coming on. But every now and then you need to do a check and see how it's doing. Check your timers. Some timers, when the power goes out, it resets to automatic cycles, and it may not be on that same watering schedule that you had originally programmed it. So check the irrigation timers. Set it to run during the day, just like for 10 minutes. Go out there and check and look for broken sprinkler heads. Look for dripping valves. Look for anything that's not working right. If the sprinkler head is watering the sidewalk, if it needs to be adjusted, make those measurements, make those changes. That's the biggest thing you can do is outdoors. Indoors, take a look and see if any of your sinks are leaking water, if your toilets are running. The Public Works Department has diet tablets you can put in your toilet tank. If you have older toilets, older than 5 years, they may be leaking. That hard Davis water, sometimes we get a little bit of buildup and around the flapper valve, and water can drip into the toilet. So put a diet tablet in the toilet tank. If your water turns blue in the tank, you have a leaky toilet. You're wasting a lot of water.
Yeah, it's amazing that there's resources available for people to do these small things that actually save them money. That's the best part, is that all this stuff saves people money.
It really does. It really does. And that when we're asking for a 30% water reduction and 20% water reduction, you hear those terms a lot. What that means is not you as an individual, you have to save 20%, because maybe you already are. Maybe you already saved 40%. It's citywide. It's not each individual person. It's citywide. We're trying to save 20%, 30%, 40%. It's not individual. So it's really key to remember.
So this is something that if say it starts to rain and this drought suddenly it gets lowered from from extreme.
From a stage 3 mandate.
From a stage 3 mandate.
Water shortage, yeah.
Do these efforts, I guess they maybe aren't as front and center, but there's still things that they save people money, so I can't imagine why you'd want to go back to just leaving the hose.
Yeah, these are good habits. Conservation is always a good thing. It's never a good idea to waste resources. So, if we get out of this drought and, we're no longer in a stage 3, we're still going to be asking people to conserve water and asking people to just do these simple things just to save water.
Right, well, so I want to thank you for coming in.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you bet. We have a couple more minutes. I just wanted to ask what other areas might residents expect to hear from you about, not just water, but if they're on the horizon.
Okay, on the horizon.
If you see any other conservation issues popping up.
City Council gave us a list of things that they want us to be working on in the next
This
couple
could
of
be
years.
long.
So
Okay.
I know I have a list. So one of the things that they want to see is a ban on styrofoam takeout containers at restaurants and fast food places. So that's in the works. We've already banned the plastic bags, carryout bags, so that's actually going really smoothly. Next is containerization of yard materials that we're working on. We're currently negotiating with our waste hauler, and hopefully we'll see our yard materials containerized, which means we can collect food scraps from everybody. And not only just food scraps, but also...
Only the City of Davis Conservation Corridor could
I'm
be
excited
about
this.
collecting food scraps from
This has
people.
been my dream for years.
Oh.
You know, there's only 3 jurisdictions in California now that have the method of collecting yard materials that we do. Everybody else has a container. If we have a container, we can collect food scraps, we can collect paper napkins, paper towels. It's so many different things can be collected for composting at that point.
That's exciting. This is exciting.
Thank you.
I want to encourage everyone to go to savedaviswater.org. And as you heard from Jennifer, you'll be hearing some other efforts that are coming down the pike from the City of Davis Conservation Coordinator. But for now, everyone go to savedaviswater.org and check out ways that you can save Davis water. And thanks again, Jennifer, for coming in.
Thank you very much.
We've been watching in the studio on Davis Media Access, DCTV Channel 15. Thanks for watching.